Yo, welcome back. It is episode 4 of the It's All Opinion podcast. On my left, I have Pike, a producer out of Denver. And on my right, I have Jam Young, a rapper out of Queens, New York. And we're talking about their new project, PB&J. Great conversation. So obviously on the other side of this, check it out. What do I want? All right, welcome back to the It's All Opinion podcast, the only podcast where it's all opinion. It's straight facts here, and if it's not facts, it's an opinion. This is the first episode in 2022. Everybody, I have Pike here, and I have Jam Young on the other side of me. First off, I just want to say happy 2022. Congratulations, we made it to another year. That being said, I am your host, Nate Spurlin. Thank you for listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, kind of rusty here, and other DSPs that I haven't named. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel or the podcast page, however you're watching or listening, however you're consuming the podcast. And follow us on Instagram at OldMilk Media. And Twitter at OldMilk Media. Again, kind of rusty. Sorry, guys. Kind of nervous. It's my first time in like mad long. Once again, I already said it before, but I'm here with Pike on the left of me and Jam Young on my right. Thank you for being here, guys.
Thanks for having me.
To be here, man.
All right. So they have their new project that came out, I believe, it came out last Friday, didn't it?
Yes,
last
sir.
Friday, PB&J. So they're here to obviously talk about that. But obviously I have questions for them, first of all. So let's get straight into it. My first thought when I was thinking about planning this podcast was I wanted to ask, how did you guys meet? And what was the moment individually that you guys realized that this partnership between you two would be a fruitful one?
Pike, you care if I take it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So basically, me and my ex-girl at the time, I used to travel a lot, basically going to different states. And when I started doing that, I this is like beginning of Facebook, really. Like Facebook was at its prime. Like everybody was on it. There was no IG. So I used to go to different states, and I shot a video in Memphis back when I was like 21, 22. So when I went to Denver for the first time, my goal was like, yo, I'm gonna try to link up with a producer or a videographer and kind of just hit up a bunch of like Facebook groups. So I hit one up and hoping that like, 1,000, a bunch of people be like, yo, you from New York, let me talk to you. But Pike was the only one who hit me up. And we was trying to meet, but the time isn't just stuff, like stuff I had plans. Stuff that he had planned didn't work out, but he was like, yo, I'm gonna send you some beats. And I was like, yeah, 100%. So I actually still got some of those beats on my computer, my 2013 computer. But we basically just started doing that, and then we just kept in contact. So Pike produced a couple songs on my second project called One Step Closer. And then we did a bunch of like singles. But I think, I think even though we had like a relationship over the internet, we weren't like fully like immersed yet. And then Pike was like, yo, in like 2018, he was like, no, 2017, I think 2017, he was like, yo, I'm coming with my boy to New York. And I was like, all right, bet, like say less, let me know what's good. And we ended up linking up a couple times that weekend and kind of showing her the New York vibes. We got to chill with like Razzcast and J-Mo Gang and hit up a couple shows and bars and stuff. So ever since that, that's when we like knew like, oh shit, this is bigger than just a internet relationship and like a rapper and producer kind of vibe. And then I told him, I was like, yo, Pike, don't play with me, man. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do something. I remember telling him this in the Airbnb. I was like, I'm gonna come next year to Denver. And he was like, all right, bet. I'm like, all right, what time you think works for you? I was thinking like April, May. He was like, yeah. I'm like, yo, once I say it, and once I put it in the brain, it's manifesting, like it's gonna happen. So after we met, I told him that like we figured it out like literally like maybe a month later, and then I flew to Denver, and that's kind of how the whole project kind of like began and started. We booked the show together out there. He booked the dope ass gallery, and we just did a bunch of events. So um, and that was great because now I got a good friend, and I also got a dope ass producer. So
So Pike, what would you say would be the moment that you realized that the partnership with Jam Young would be a fruitful one?
Once we finally met, I would say then, yeah, as an engineer and producer, I work with a lot of people, have people come in and out. It's not very often that somebody will come rapping and be like, I want to go hang out with that person outside. There are a couple people like that, but yeah, it was a connection that was more than just like music. And it probably helped that, we met in New York, not necessarily like in the studio. But yeah, he said next year we're gonna make it happen. And yeah, it came out, and that definitely, once we started working like together, I think it was over by then. It was on.
yeah, for sure. And just to jump on that, Milk, like what's crazy is I 29 I would say like 2018 was really when like I've been pursuing music since I was younger, but like I knew I wanted to pursue it. Like I was like, yo, I got nothing holding me back, no school, no this, no, you know what I mean? Like I had no obligations to myself except to myself. So I was like, yo, I want to do music full time. I always want to do that. So now I have opportunity to do it. So then I met Pike at 28, and 28 was kind of like a game changer for me because that was like the first time I went on tour. I went from doing like a bunch of like single shows, like I'd go to like Rhode Island and do a show, Connecticut do a show, and like that was cool. But to be able to like start stringing shows together and building connections across country, like not just through the internet, but like face to face, kind of like took my career to another level. So when I got in the studio with Pike, it was like the first time that I was like able to kind of like just be free with the music. You know what I'm saying? Like I had 4 days. Like literally, we go upstairs, go to sleep, wake up, like pour a cup of coffee, eat some eggs, and go back downstairs and like go to work. And it was like a dream that I never like got to realize until that moment. So when I found out I could work downstairs, like I was like, I gotta go downstairs and work. That's it. Like I don't gotta go take 7 trains or you know what I mean, go to the Bronx, Brooklyn, all this shit. I'm like, yo, it's on, man. Like, I mean, I probably kept Pike up longer than it's supposed to because I was just like, yo, I was like, we need to make these records, man. We gotta make some heat. Yeah, I think I just love it so much, man. And like when me and Pike linked up, and the fact that we not only just had chemistry as like artists and friends, like we challenged each other and like bounced off ideas. And I think sometimes like bouncing off ideas can be like very difficult with people because some people hear it this way or see it this way. Where I feel like we're both very open to ideas. We're like, all right, you know what? Let's try it. The only thing to do is try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We cut it. And I'm a very like visual and like just I like to touch and feel and hear things. I'm a very sensory learner. So when I do something, I want to bring it to fruition. And if it sounds like shit, then I switch it up. You know what I'm saying?
So that actually brought about 2 questions. The first one is probably a quicker one, so I'm going to get to that first. I saw you perform at the Shalizi event, I believe, like either a month or 2 ago. That's when we first met, Jam Young, and your performance is really great. I could tell that you really care about that, and not many artists really do. So can you talk about how important performing is to you and why you take so much pride in doing it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as a fan of music, like I mean, I like that you love basketball because basketball is my other favorite thing. But basketball and music are synonymous in the way that when you perform live, like that's it. Like you know what I mean? Like this is a moment that you have to be kind of captured in. And I always love the artmanship, the artistry, and the artship of like everything. So I used to go to so many shows, bro. Like friend shows, like professional shows, and just like watch. I would just be amazed, right? Like sitting in the crowd. Oh my God, look what this guy's doing. Look what this guy's doing. And then for me as a rapper, it's like you kind of like limited, right? You don't got a band most of the time. You don't got this and that. So if you're one person that could captivate, whether it's 5 people, 50 people, 500 people, then to me, that's really like a skill and an art in its own, because a lot of times, like, you know what I mean, you have backup. If you mess up a lyric, you have someone ad-libbing you. If you mess up a drum beat, like there's other things going on that people are like paying attention to. Whereas as a rapper, all eyes are on you, like the way Tupac said it, man. So when I started performing again in 2015, I just wanted to like figure out a way to like just embody my passion for music, but also just like give people a show. Like they came out in the cold, or if they came out whatever day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like they came out not just to support their friend, they came out to see something dope. And like the benefit of like cross promoting and cross contamination with artists is like you get a chance to not just, I wouldn't call it stealing fans. I would say you start the chance to like make fans, like really make and meet people. And like before I even performed, you and me had like a whole vibe going on. We was talking about music and sports and a whole bunch of other shit. And I think like, especially in the intimate settings, you get a chance to do that. So for me, I just try to treat every show as if I'm already performing at MSG. You know what I'm saying? Like I want people to know, take this shit serious, because it's not just your own time you're wasting other people's time. And if it's something that you love, then you should be the best at it. Your best version of yourself. Like I'm not comparing myself to anybody else. I'm saying the best version of myself. I wanted to be, and that show actually was probably, I don't know. It was something different about the energy in that room when I got on stage, and I could feel it, and I was like, yo, this is like almost like a teachable moment, because some of the acts before me, I could tell, you know, they're still working their way up to being a little better on like holding a microphone or rapping or engaging with the crowd. So I'm like, all right, not only this is a moment for me to make new fans, but it's a moment to show people like, yo, y'all can do this too. Like care about shit. Like memorize this shit. Like engage with people, slap people, you know what I mean? Give people fives. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone came here for a moment. So sorry to go. I feel like I was ranting a little bit.
No, you're fine.
That's
what this podcast is for.
I just love being in the moment, and that's something that I think is hard to do in life. So when you get on stage, like everything kind of like wipes off, and you're just like, yo, I got 2 songs. I'm gonna give this 6 minutes are gonna be the best 6 minutes of my life, you know.
So the second part, or the second question that spawned from your previous soliloquy was, what do you guys like and dislike about working with each other? And can you summarize your partnership in a phrase or a word, or yeah.
Pike, I feel like you just take the reins on this one, because I've been talking a lot.
Well, you asked that question after you talked about how much you love performing, and I've said this in several interviews that doesn't matter if there's 5 people or 100 people, he's gonna go up and perform and give it his best, and then he's gonna go talk to all 5 of those people, or he's gonna go try and talk to all 100 of those people. And you know, coming from me, like introverted rapper, I mean, that's why I'm in the basement, I'm the engineer, I'm the producer, I'm behind the boards or behind the DJ thing. So having somebody that's like super passionate and is going to be that, you know, mouthpiece to go out and talk to all those fans has been the best part of it. I would say the worst is just distance. He's been awesome, you know, compared to some people about sending emails, and you know, there's stuff that I've done with people that still haven't been finished for months and years, but like that we're able to like keep knocking this stuff out even despite the different distance has been awesome. But yeah, imagine how much stuff we could get done if you lived up the street, or vice versa.
Oh yeah, man. That's something I didn't even think about. I guess to piggyback off that, I mean, the best thing about partnerships are the fact that like you just kind of hold each other accountable. Now that can also be the most annoying part, right? Like, you know, sometimes I'm sure if I hit Pike at 4 o'clock in the morning and he just put his baby to sleep, you know what I'm saying? Probably not the best time to hit him up, but when my mind is like an artist, I just, you know, I kind of just go and I appreciate that he doesn't, if he has something to say about that, he'll say it. And I think that's also important that we, you know, create a safe environment to just be able to speak our minds and agree and disagree. Like a perfect example, we went to the studio, to a different studio together, and we just kind of wanted to make a song on the whim. We was like, yo, 2 hours, we're just gonna try to make a song. And I kind of told them, like, during the session, usually like in 2 hours, like if it was us three, let's say right now, Milk, if we was in the studio right now, we could probably bang out 2-3 joints. Like because I could feel the energy. But when the vibe was a little off, I told them, I'm like, yo, listen, this song is probably not gonna be the best because I don't like the energy that I'm getting from this in particular environment. But other than that, I mean, yeah, distance is obviously one of them. But I mean, for the most part, like there's no complaints. We all have our own little like knickknacks and habits that, like, putting an album out, bro. Like I barely put out an album before this, which was stressful as hell. So to be able to do that with someone else is like almost like double the stress, because I can feel when Pike's stressed and he can feel when I'm stressed. And like, I think that's the only like negative of it, is just like, because we're also just not physically with each other, or we both have so much going on outside of our lives, that is like you almost get like mad at the person, even though it's not really their fault. You know what I mean? So other than that though, like I don't have any complaints, man. Like him and his family are wonderful people, and they've shown nothing but love to me, and to make an album that they helped with and love, like that's one for the record books,
So one last thing before we actually get into the new album, PB&J. Pike, you are a audio engineer, and that's something that is, at least in my circle, something that a person that I don't really encounter often. So can you talk about something that you wish people knew about how much skill it takes to be a good audio engineer?
It takes a lot of practice. I think there's a lot of moving parts, especially, I recorded and engineered this entire album. So that is a lot, 11 tracks plus, we have a couple bonus tracks and singles and stuff. So it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. There's a lot of moving parts to it. So, I would just say respect your engineer. Thank your engineer for making you sound good. And yeah, respect, I think, is unsung. I don't want to say unsung hero, but like you said, you don't encounter that many. Some people might just be like, oh, this song sounds good, but not give props to the guy that recorded it and mixed it. So just more awareness for those people.
So getting into PB&J, I think the first obvious question is what was the vision behind the sonics of this project, and what did you want this project to accomplish?
Want to start off, Pike?
Honestly, I don't think Jam can add to this. I don't think we had a vision starting out, because it was done during 2 trips. So in like 2018, we just started, hanging out and making music and recording. And I think by the end of the week, we had enough for a project. And 2019, they came back and we finished it up and planned the tour and everything. That's when it kind of started to take more shape. I think there were times where, hey, maybe we should make a slow song. Maybe we should make this type of song to kind of round out the project. But mostly, working, and if it sounded good, we'd keep going. I don't think there were too many songs that we started and just said, no, that's not going to work. I don't know if I have any of those. So it's like everything we did over those 2 weeks made the cut, because it was just, good working conditions. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, like I said kind of before, the call back was that, like, this is the first time that we got to, like, not only just be in the studio together, like one-on-one, but it's the first time that we had so much access. I felt like I had so much access to music. So it was like, I was like, I was hungry. I was, and I know I kind of talked about the vibe as well. like when the vibe is right, like we just kind of go through things. So when like I don't remember any particular necessarily like moment per se, but when we were going through beats and like making beats, like that's how we kind of just like, I'm like, oh yeah, oh I like that, yeah, keep that going, like, and then we just kind of felt it. I think overall, like as the first trip went on, we originally called the project Psychedelic Experience because like Colorado, it was the first time I ever heard of dabs. It was the first time I seen people taking dabs. It was the first time I got into like legal weed, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, oh shit, I could buy weed at the fucking store, bro. I was like, this shit is some other shit, you know what I'm saying? Like people in Colorado are just so much more like laid back and like, they like doing psychedelics and shrooms and shit. So for me, I was like, all right, like even though I don't do the psychedelics, I'm trying to give people that feeling, you know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to give them like, the East Coast soulful rap shit mixed in with like this vibe. Like you could be high watching this, like it's like that solace you get when you look up at the stars, you know what I mean? When you're just laying on grass or like at a festival, like that feeling I wanted to like accentuate, you know what I'm saying? Because music is a drug too. So that's why originally we had it like that. I thought of it like that because I'm like, all right, I'm giving you this experience from Colorado. Like this album would not be made the same way if we was in New York or if we was in, Zimbabwe or whatever. Like it would have been just totally different vibe. So I think in terms of like feeling and musically, that's kind of where our headspace was at. And then we just kind of like ran with it, like the first time it was mostly like a lot of the rap stuff on the project happened the first time, right? Like the Come Up To, which is actually a culmination of songs that I already had released that me and my former DJ partner, DJ Ray Black, like had performed with me and stuff. So he kind of came up with the hook, like, oh man, this is a perfect time to kind of like let's bring this shit together. And I like that because it reminds me of Jay-Z's Moment of Clarity, where he kind of like names all his like rap albums in the beginning. So when he did that, I was like, yo, that's some shit that like, you know what I'm saying, hits to me in the heart. So a lot of the rap stuff happened that time, and the second time we came back was a lot more of like melodic shit. Like we came back and we were like, all right, let's put some sauce and swag to the album. And we came up with like Moon Rocks and The Weekend and kind of just felt the vibe, right? Because now we're good. Like we already did half an album. So the other part to me was actually like stress free. But yeah, that was kind of the intention in mind. And PB&J just ended up being like super fun. So I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But
For sure. So on the second part of the question, what did you guys want to accomplish with PB&J?
Just make a good, fun album. I don't think working together. I didn't really, as far as producing and engineering goes, I didn't really have a overall goal. I say, like I've said, it's kind of semi autobiographical. Just like a lot of the raps are about that time and place, about what we're doing. We're in Denver. We're going to the dispensaries. We're playing these shows. We're hanging out together. A lot of it was just, kind of putting that on wax. Those moments of getting together and working on music and like having fun with your friends. So.
Yeah, and I hope that one that came across. Two, I think that like like some of the like, all right, like one of the best albums in history, Good Kid, Mad City, right? Like I've never been to Compton. I know a bunch of people haven't been, and like one of the best things about the album is that like he puts you in like the driver's seat, right? You're like, oh shit, I've never been to this place, but through Kendrick's eyes, I can feel it, and I think that. When it comes to PB&J, obviously it's a much lighter project, but I think the whole goal when we made it was like, yo, if you've never been to Denver, if you've never felt this way before, I'm here to give you that experience. I'm here to show you that, oh shit, this is new to me, and I want you to come on this ride with me. I want you to know how this trio, this album came to be. And honestly, I didn't even realize that we were really making an album until like Pike started mixing it, and he was like, yo, listen to this. And I'm like, yo, like, because I think in my head, I always thought like my first album, like I was like, yo, I must have like fucking 20G budget. I'm gonna get static selector. I'm gonna get like Primo scratches. I'm gonna get this feature, that feature. So, you know, I never really thought about it as an album until later. I'm like, yo, like not even accidentally, like I manifested. I always wanted to make an album with some dope ass people, and like here it is. Like I did it like without even like blinking, you know. And I think that was like in terms of just like intention of like where I want the album to go, man. I want people to see like the songwriting is crispy. You know what I'm saying? Like I could rap, you know what I mean? I think people have known that for a long time. But something that always I carry with me, the first project I ever dropped, my manager, who was still one of my biggest supporters, he was always like, yo, the album is dope, but like, where's the hooks at? Where's the songs at? Like, where the shit that we could sing? Like, and he's like super flamboyant gay. And like for a lot of communities, bro, when you go to the club, you want to hear the hook, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's that pushing P type shit. That's the shit that people quote forever, right? Yeah, like people don't even know what it is, but it's like, it started a movement, right? Just off a hook. So like that's why I want like from songwriting to even to performing. When I write songs now, I'm thinking about how I'm rocking this at a show. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, all right, like The Weeknd is a perfect example. Like, all right, we know what crowd is gonna like that. We know when to play that record. We're not playing that when we're fucking, you know what I mean, high on the couch and like sunken down and watching a movie. We're gonna play that shit when the girls come in, clubs going on, you know. So I think for the intention of songwriting and just to be the best Jam Young album that's out right now. I mean, that basically until the next thing, you know.
So throughout the project, there's little sound bites. Some of them I'm not familiar with, but obviously, like the Family Guy one on For Granted, obviously I know that one because Family Guy is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. But that being said, there's a lot of them there. So can you guys talk about the process in terms of selecting sound bites? Like how much work how many pieces of visual media did you have to go through to be like, okay, well, this is going to be on the project. This is going to be on the project versus actually deciding where to place it. Like just talk about the whole process around that.
Do you care if I just start for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
So to be honest, like I've been doing that in my music for a long time. But over the past few years, I've been kind of like actually staying away from like that type of stuff. But like Pike was really enthusiastic about it. So this is one of the compromises. I was like, you know what? I see you got a vision, just run with it. So I'm gonna let him run with it and tell you where he got a lot of those ideas and samples from.
Yeah, that was my touches to kind of make it a little bit more cohesive. Like I said, it was originally called something else, and once we changed the name, it just like had a fun vibe. And one of the reasons, like what inspired it, was when we were on tour. I think we were cruising through Ohio. I was listening to Childish Gambino, because of the internet. And they have so many like
Great album.
They're not like rap skits, but they're outros and they're clips. And he, stops rapping to like talk and like all these cool switch ups. And that was just like my attempt to take like a 3/16 song that was pretty standard and like add something else to it to make it a little bit more interesting. So digging through records. I did a whole like behind the scenes series that's on my website and on YouTube, and I was kind of going over like, oh, I've had this sample and I used this, and so it was various stuff from my record collection. And then I think there are a couple things that I remembered, like the Family Guy one, but most of it was just Googling PB&J movie quotes and just see like what pops up and what I could find and what fit. I do know what most of them were. I think there was maybe only one or two that I found like doing that, but most of them was like, oh yeah, that's from that show. I mean, if I'd have sat there and thought about it, I don't know if I'd have found that clip from season 5 show, whatever, of that show. But so thank you, Google, for making those recommendations. And then it was just downloading them and seeing where they fit.
So out of all the tracks, the one that stands out in terms of sound is The Weeknd. There's like it very much feels like it's intended to be played in the club, and that's so much different from all the other tracks. So can you guys talk about the strategy and the thought process behind making that song?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think so. Pike makes a lot of stuff. And at the time, DJ Ray Black also made a lot of music. So I think for him, it was refreshing to listen to other people's beats. So we just went through a bunch of Pike beats, and we were like, "Yo, we need like something. We just need something different." Like, I don't think we intended to pick like that vibe and that beat like selection per se, but when it came on, it was just so infectious, man. And something that I learned that I got better at too, like about making hooks. Like DJ Ray Black was really good at making hooks, so he kind of just like he went with the vibe. He was just like, "Listen, this is where the vibe taking me. I'm going here." And once he did that, it's all good for the weekend type of thing. We just like, oh yeah, this is we taking it to the next level. And this is actually funny because when we went back to the song, that whole second half, Peanut Butter Jelly with a dope ass rap, like that was when I already like the funny thing between having a year off and going back to like music is that I told you that 2018 and 2019, like I feel like my songwriting and my pen game just started, like you could see like the increase of it like real fast, like a lot faster if he was paying attention. So when we got into the studio, like all those touch-ups became even better. Like that whole Peanut Butter Jelly dope ass rap, like that was a whole collaborative effort of like great minds coming together. I'd be curious actually. I want to know what Pike thinks. I want to know from his perspective what happened, because it's funny when you hear the same story but in from someone else's eyes.
Yeah, that was one that I did for like a sync library a long time ago. I don't remember what show it was, but didn't get picked up. And so I had like 2 or 3 kind of dancey club beats. I didn't have too many, but I made them all for like a specific brief. And I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember if you said we need a song like this or if I was just going through and it came up on my list and somebody's like, "Ooh, yeah, let's work with that." But I will say, like, that's a good thing about like the in-home studio and them being here for a week is you're able to try some stuff. Like if we're on the clock, maybe be like, that's so out of, left field for what we're working on, and maybe not. But when you're all here hanging out, working at, all day, it's like, yeah, why not? It's super easy. I got the mic right here. Let's do it. And yeah, Ray was really good about letting the music take him, come up with an idea for a hook. And we've gotten better at doing that. Like the last trip Jam was out, we were kind of doing the same thing, going through beats, and then you kind of hum and get a word or something. And then once everybody's like, yeah, I kind of like that, then it's just, all right, let's actually put it down and build it from there. And then, yeah, the second trip we added, I think we added layers to the hook, and we added the intro, and we added the outro. So yeah, that one definitely grew on me. I like that one a lot more now that we, took that time off and thought of more ideas to flesh it out and add the different sections and stuff like that.
So what's
Also,
next?
hold up, Milk. I just want to do one. I want to just shout out Jackie and my homegirl Janine, who put some vocals on that too. We wanted a little women's touch on the ad libs, and they were very nice to be a part of the project. So I just wanted to shout them out on the podcast, because you know what I mean. You got to give credit when credit is due.
No, for sure. They definitely did their thing on that track for sure. So final question before we get to the final segment. What is next for the duo of Pike and Jam Young?
Yeah. Well, if I'm making the list, I mean, so during quarantine, Pike has sent me a bunch of unfinished records, and we probably have like 6 or 7 of those, and that I filled in. Like, you know what I mean? He had like an empty verse, and I was like, all right, let me do this. And I kind of went crazy with it, and I was hitting up everybody I haven't worked with yet. Like, I just love working with people. I know, business side, people get a little shaky and shit, but I really am just like a creative at heart. And, we got our ASCAP and BMI all settled up. So for me, I'm like, all right, let's make a record. And if it pops and it's hot, then we all win. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like if we're especially on the same level, like it's one thing if I'm trying to get like, I'm just saying someone outlandish, but like, let's try and get J. Cole on a record, right? Like, obviously I know I got to put up bread for that, but it's like, if we're on the same level, and I think, and I respect you as an artist, and I feel like, yo, I'm gonna send you a record. Let's make something. Do something. So we did like a feature. I got like a feature. We got a bunch of features from like some really dope ass people that we have kind of in the works. But I don't know. I think after we release a bunch of music together as like singles, I mean, I'd be curious and like love to like do something a little bit different from PB&J and just like have me and Pike do the same process of going into the studio, but making something, you know, a little more like who we are now. You know what I mean? Because that album started with like almost 4 years ago. So, now he has a kid. I have different life experiences. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of that needs to be kind of fleshed out and pushed out into the world. So whatever comes from that EP, album, 3 albums, who knows?
Yeah, I just say, PB&J related. What's next? We got a couple videos. This was originally going to come out in 2020, and right before I was coming out was March, 13th. I canceled my flight, and by Monday, everything was shut down in the world. So we've been sitting on this for a while, and so we didn't get a chance to do like the shows and the tours and the album release parties and stuff like that. So hopefully some of that, some of the videos, and then, yeah, like Jam said, connecting with the people, the artists that are coming out to say, oh, I really like that, because we have ideas for remixes and stuff like that. And Jam's doing a single a week for the whole year. So 52 chances to make some more tunes. I don't know how many more we have primed going forward, but I'm sure we'll be working on that for the year, and then kind of see where that takes us. I'm sure we'll put together another project soon.
So final segment here is a segment where I give guests a chance to speak their piece. So you get a minute and you can promote whatever you want to promote or say whatever you want to say. So that being said, I'll step back and let you guys have your minute.
All right. So we get a minute each, or
how do you want to do it?
All right. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I feel like
I'll give you a minute each. I'll give you a minute each.
That sounds good. Let me know when to go, because I'm ready to roll.
You go ahead right now.
All right, dope. So I go by the name of Jam Young Music on everything, jamyoungmusic.com. Pretty much, man, I'm gonna be flooding the streets, the virtual streets, with so much music, man. I think you're gonna be sick of me by the time the year ends. But 52 singles are dropping. Well, number 5 is already in the works, coming out on Friday, called No Brainer, produced by my man Pike. And it's gonna be a no-brainer to listen to. But basically, I also got 2 or 3. Yeah, you know what I mean? I also got 2 or 3 more projects, some old projects that I'm releasing, including 2 whole projects with DJ Ray Black that I'm gonna be putting out this year. And then to finish out the year, I'm finishing an album called Uncomfortable, which is a follow-up to Growth. So you're gonna get 4 albums out of me this year, maybe some other EPs and projects, but 52 singles for sure every week. So follow me on Spotify, follow me on everything. It's gonna be so much music and so much content. I got a music video probably dropping a surprise drop. Since I don't know when it's gonna air, we'll put a surprise drop sometime this next week or so. So just get ready. Bars, love, music. It's gonna be there for the whole year.
Just talk about anything, or
Yeah, go ahead. You could just plug whatever. You could, if you have anything you want to get off your chest, now's the time to do it.
All right. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name's Pike. You can check me out at 4D2dproductions.com. Pike 4D2D pretty much everywhere, some variation of that. Once this project drops, I haven't made too many beats in a while, so I gotta replenish because Jam keeps raiding my stash for these singles and stuff. So I'll be replenishing that, dropping more beats. I'm in the middle of 2 other projects. We'll see how those flesh out, and doing a bunch of sync work. So a lot of my stuff will be kind of exclusive behind the scenes till you see it on TV or commercial. You'll be seeing that more and more. The ball's rolling. Just got one today, so we're gonna see more of that hopefully. And just random thoughts. I hope Matthew Stafford wins a Super Bowl. I think he deserves it. He got out of Detroit. I wish Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson got the chance to do it as well. So that's my 2 cents on
All
that.
right. Calvin
And
Johnson
OBJ, you
should be
heard?
Hall of Fame. And OBJ. I'm really rooting for the Rams because of OBJ, because they tried to bury him in Cleveland, and that wasn't fair. It's not his fault that Baker Mayfield is trash, but I digress. That being said, time to wrap it up. You can listen to Jam Young and Pike's album PB&J on Spotify and Apple Music. You can also connect with Jam Young and Pike on Instagram and Twitter. All the links to everything will be found in the description. That being said, I am Nate Spurlin. This has been the It's All Opinion podcast, episode 4. Thank you for watching or listening, however you're consuming this podcast. Thank you for doing it. Like and subscribe. Follow OldMilk on Instagram and Twitter at OldMilk Media. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. We're still in a pandemic, guys. So, make sure you get that handled up, and we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you.
Thank you.